Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to take a look at a very interesting deck submitted by a subscriber named Diamond Domain. And this deck today is Ethan's Typhlosion, which we haven't covered on the channel for a while, with a poison package. Now, typically, I would obviously do the deck list, the games, and the outro, but I think his list needed some work, so what I've done is there's going to be another timestamp before the outro, and that is where we're going to take a look at the upgraded deck list that I have done. But anyway, as per normal, as I just said, there'll be the usual links to the deck list, which is also available to copy in the description below. The upgraded version will also be available to copy in the description below as well. There will be games that will play, and the outro and what I think of the deck, and of course, the upgraded deck that I've worked on and found more consistent. So of course, we have covered Ethan's Typhlosion on the channel before. It was a while ago, to be honest. It was one of the first videos I did on this channel. And the concept of this strategy, of course, is pretty good. You know, Ethan's Typhlosion is a good single price attacker. You obviously have the extra poison damage, and obviously we played Binding Mochi in this list. So, you know, we have a lot of strategy in that sense. And it makes a lot of sense, you know, like, we obviously have the Body Blast, which can go up to 280. Obviously, we're never going to use the Steam Artillery attack, so ignore that. But the fact is that we can do 280, plus Binding Mochi, plus, which means another 40. And if our opponent's Pokemon is not a Dark type, with our Stadium in play, we're doing an extra 3 poison damage, which means we're hitting 350 on a single prizer. Now, his list that he gave me, he said he took it, original inspiration from another content creator. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but it did need some work. Like, the list that we're obviously going to play today is the normal one, and it did feel a bit clunky, so that's what I've tried to help with. And honestly, it's been actually quite fun playing this list. I mean, obviously we're playing the Brute Bonnets, we have the Fez for a bit of draw, we have the Pecharunts to obviously put more damage into play with poison. We're obviously playing Pecharunt EX, which is our way of getting those Pokemon switched, and obviously this is a switch out against control decks, and also Wellspring Ogerpon, Maractus, etc. So as long as we have a Pecharunt down, or a Brute Bonnet, or anything like that, we can just switch into them using the Subjugating Chains. So we at least have a permanent switch out, which is always nice to have in a deck. And then we are running 2 copies of Squawkabilly EX to obviously get our hands into the discard that we don't need, such as Ethan's Adventures, and obviously powering up our attacks anyway. But also that means we can turbo even further, thanks to a supporter card, Carmine. Carmine's really good to have in this deck, to be honest. Not only do we have Ethan's Adventure, which we can discard, but you can play this card going first. Obviously, I've covered Carmine in a few different deck lists that I've done on the channel. It's a very good card, and it continues to be a good card. And it's even better in this list because obviously we want to be discarding those Ethan's Adventures. And honestly, it works pretty well. So let's go to the deck list and let's have a proper look. And welcome to the deck list. So as you can see, this list is very heavy on both the tools and obviously the Pokemon. Now, obviously in the upgraded version, which I'll show later in the video, this can be quite daunting, and because obviously our only way to search stuff is Secret Box, because obviously that's the only way we're grabbing our tools. There's no Tanstores, no Arven, nothing like that. This could be seen as a bit daunting, and I get the idea of this concept, but I think it's just trying to do too much. Now, I've said that before about a couple of deck lists, that they're trying to do too much. Like, for example, Terror Box tries to do too much, which it does very well, but you need to be a top player to be mastering that deck. And obviously we're playing 8 tools in this deck, only 1 candy, 1 TM Evo, which we can't search unless we use Secret Box for it, and it's heavily likely we're not even going to use the TM Evo, so in the upgraded version that card's actually cut. But you get the gist of what I'm trying to explain here. I think this list originally was trying to do too much, but that's why I've offered to help Diamond Domain with that. So we have 4 Ethan's Cyndaquil, 4 Ethan's Quilava, and 3 Ethan's Typhlosion, so a pretty standard Ethan's line, so to speak. 2 Pecharunt, 2 Squawkabilly, 2 Brute Bonnet, 1 Pecharunt, 1 Fez as our Pokemon, 4 Carmines, 4 Ethan's Adventure, 2 Boss, 1 Iono, 4 Nest Ball, 4 Night Stretcher, which I think is a little bit too high, 2 Ultra Ball, 1 Rare Candy, 1 Secret Box as our A spec, one of the best cards, if not the best A specs in the game, 1 Super Rod, 1 Pal Pad, 4 Ancient Booster Energy Capsules, 3 Binding Mochis, 1 Technical Machine Evolution, 3 Perilous Jungles, and 5 Basic Fire Energy. Like I said, I don't mean this in a bad way to Diamond Domain or the original creator, but I think you're trying to do too much with this list. And that's why when Diamond Domain submitted the list to me, I said to him, well, I'll cover the original deck list, which is what we're going to be doing, but also I'll try and help you out a little bit, because fair enough, I'm not a massive player, you know, like I don't have a limitless page, I don't get time to go to regionals, but the point is that I want to try and help those that, you know, this list could be good, and it is good, but it could be better, you know, like there's always something to learn in my opinion. So for example, one of the first cuts I made is I cut this to 2. I don't think you need 4 Night Stretcher. You only need 3 ABEX in this list. You only need 2 Mochis in this list. You don't need the Evo because you don't play a proper way to search it. You know, like these things can also add to the consistency of the deck. I mean, Carmine is a great supporter, so this should be your draw anyway. Ethan's Adventure should be at 4 anyway. And obviously, with us playing 70 HP Pokemon, which, you know, it's our only 70 HP Pokemon, even adding something like a Buddy Poffin would make this just so much easier. Because we can go Secret Box for Carmine, Buddy Poffin, ABEC, Perilous Jungle, or something similar like Nest Ball instead of the Buddy Poffin. You know, like, you could still go Carmine into that Buddy Poffin and set up your Cyndaquils, which is the whole point of the strategy. Because we're not always going to be able to get the Donk with the Pecharunt. And obviously, another thing I notice is a lot of poison packages don't just play the Pecharunt. They do play, what is it? It's the Latias. They play a Latias EX, which is more versatile, because obviously you do need dark Pokemon to use Pecharunt. And if you can't find your baby Pecharunts too easily, that could be an issue. And obviously you don't want to go into your Bonnets, because these have 3 retreat. And obviously another thing that I noticed about this list, there's no Turo, there's no Switch, there's nothing like that. And with only the Pecharunt to switch stuff out, that's not great, because obviously we want to get our Ethan's Typhlosions into the active, so you get the gist of what I'm trying to say here. And obviously, even though we're running 2 prizes, it's not that big of a deal if we played something like a Turo, but we don't. And that's obviously what I'm trying to like help with the deck list in the next part, obviously, once we get to that. But anyway, let's get into a couple of games and see how this deck runs. Welcome to the first game. I've not really played the ladder much. If you can tell by my throat, I'm not particularly well. I'm just getting over a cold right now, which I mentioned it in a couple of videos before. It's now retreated from my nose and has gone to my throat, which in other words means it's on the way out. But no, I feel mostly fine. I mean, I slept like a baby last night, I will admit. Do I want to go first? Yes, I do, because we could get a Donk. So like I said, you know, it's one of those decks that I think could do with improvement, but like, you know, there's not much to really say like, oh, this is a bad deck list, because I don't think this is a bad deck list at all. I think it's a pretty good deck list. Just needs a little bit of work, and, you know, every deck needs work in my opinion. Okay, we're not getting a Donk, but I'd love to know what this opponent's playing. So, we'll go Perilous Jungle, Binding Mochi, Carmine. That's not particularly great, I will admit, but we can squawk this hand away. Motivate for 60 might come up, but I doubt it. Let's just go for a Squawk. Okay, okay. We don't get the ABEC, which is a bit annoying. But we do at least get a turn attachment. Do I want to retreat this Cyndaquil, though? Because obviously I don't know how fast they're going to attack. Let's Nest Ball first. Grab a Cyndaquil. I want to keep this Pecharunt in hand, so I'm going to attach to the Cyndaquil on the bench and pass. There's no point attaching it to the active, because I don't know if they have a way to get this Clefairy attacking immediately. This is interesting, though. I mean, you know when I saw Clefairy and Torchic, I immediately thought of my my Blaziken box that I did a while back. Team Rocket's Watchtower. Okay. Interesting. That's not in my list, I know that much. Earthen Vessel. Let's see what they discard. If this is like a Blaziken box, I'm going to be quite impressed. Devolution, interesting. Fire and a Dark Energy. So there's definitely Monkey Dories in that list. Secret Box. Okay. Getting rid of a Research, the Fire, and the Dark they just got. Fair enough. They might play Iono, which could benefit us here. But, yeah. We do kind of want to put this Pecharunt down, but I don't want to put too many 2 prizes down too early, because obviously Clefairy can start doing some serious damage. Because they could potentially gust a Squawk for all I know, if they have a way to get 2 energy onto this turn 1. I don't know if they play Crispin or like Pokemon Catchers or something like that, so I'm playing around that. But let's see. Arven, TM Evo, another Watchtower, and a Vessel. Okay. Interesting. But no, generally this seems like a really interesting list, and I like it so far. So to play the Arven for turn, that's good. Let's see what they get. They must have left an energy in themselves in hand. They're grabbing a Buddy Poffin. They're not going to Evo this turn though, surely. There's the Poffin. What the hell is this opponent playing? Are they playing a Blaziken Toolbox sort of deck? Which, I respect that. It's a bit late for this, because obviously I've already squawked, but they didn't go first, so, you know. That's the thing. But no, this seems really interesting so far, I must admit. Zoroark. Oh, this is just screaming my deck list. My Blaziken Toolbox deck. Obviously, it's a little bit different from mine. But, you know, this is screaming pretty much mine. Psychic and a Dark. Okay. There's a Psychic Energy. There's a TM Evo. And I got a TM Evo. Did they check? They didn't check the Combuskins, though. That's one thing I noticed. They didn't check them. They might have checked them during the Secret Box, but I don't know. There's one Combuskin. And into the Zoroark. Fair enough. No, this is looking good so far for my opponent. I'm pretty impressed with this. I mean, it's very much like the list I played a while back. So we've got Ultra Ball away, Nest Ball and TM Evo. Can grab ourselves a Quilava. We have got 2 in a discard pile, which is a concern. But I need to get my board set up. So there's that. We can then go Bonded By. Get our first Ethan's Adventure. We'll use Ethan's Adventure. Grab a couple of Cyndaquils and a Fire. Because we do need to get our board set up regardless, and we do have the candy in deck where required. So we'll do that, and we'll just pass. Kind of hoping we can get something off of the next draw, because this isn't looking great for us. Because like I said, we only played 1 candy, and our TM Evo, we had to discard it, because we need to keep this Pecharunt around in hand. They may gust a Quilava, which could cause an issue, but, you know, well, it will cause an issue. Excuse me. Like I say, sorry if I sound like complete and utter crap, because, you know, I'm not very well, and I don't like being unwell. And there's a Yveltal. See, this is a card that could cause us issues because we don't play a Turo. But, you know. So we're at 1 Even's Adventure in the discard pile right now. I'll promote the Petch, because at least if we draw into, like... Okay, that's not helpful at all. So we'll Bonded By. Grab an Ethan's Adventure. We'll play the Evens. Grab a couple of Typhlosions. I'm going to attach there. Do that. There's no point putting this down. I'll just pass. This is not looking good for us. Like, you know, because we've not been able to use TM Evo, we've not been able to use... Well, we've got 2 Quilavas in here. You know, we've got a massive problem if we can't find our rare candy or a way to recover those Quilavas. Because this Clefairy is just going to keep putting on pressure. And if they gust the Typhlosion, we are in a really bad spot. I know some might think it's incorrect to evolve it to a Typhlosion there, given we've got 2 Quilavas in there. But honestly, I think we kind of had to. This isn't looking good for us. Now, if we can get Brute Bonnet off the top, we can actually knock out this Clefairy this next turn. So if we get a way to search the... oh, that's bad. That's not good because we don't play Shaman. That's not good at all. So that is the Inferno Kick Flurry Blaziken. If they're getting their Blaziken EXs set up, this could be an issue. But no, I appreciate my opponent's spice. They're not going to be able to get this attack off too consistently with just one Blaziken though. Or Blaziken EX. And there's the Full Moon Rondo. We will have to promote the Typhlosion because we need to take this Clefairy out. Because it's taking too many prize cards. Alright, let's see what we can do. That's not particularly great. So we're already doing 160, which is concerning. I mean, how much damage are they doing? 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180. So they're doing enough to knock us out. Yeah, this is not looking good. Yeah, we'll just go to a game 2, because there's not a lot we can do here with the way the draws have been. And welcome back to game 2. That didn't end well for us, really. Like, we had to discard those Quilavas to actually get set up. Because even with a Carmine plus Squawk, we didn't really get a lot, I'll be honest. And, you know, that's not the deck's fault. That's just the way the draws are sometimes. You know, I'm not going to blame the deck. Even the poison packaged, like, dedicated decks do that. So it's not the end of the world. But, you know, I like the idea that my opponent was doing there. It reminded me a lot of my Blaziken Toolbox deck. Which, if you haven't watched that, you should go watch that video. It's really interesting. So we're going to start the Pech EX, because in case they're playing a Poison Package, you never know, or some way to attack, like, I don't know, Meloetta EX, at least this can sponge a hit. For Rillish, we could potentially donk this. So let's Nest Ball. We'll grab ourselves a Bonnet. We can get this Cyndaquil down as well. Ultra Ball away you and you, so we can grab ourselves a Squawk. Betcha Squawk, Mochi, Carmine. Okay, there's the ABEC. So we just need... We'll just put it on you to thin it, I guess. We just need the Stadium. There's Secret Box, that's a Donk. That is a Donk. We only need the Stadium now. Because we can go Pecharunt into there. In fact, no, we need the Nest Ball as well. We need the Nest Ball for the thingamabob. The actual Pecharunt. See, I may be poorly and tired, but I don't forget things like that. And then Subjugating Chains into the Pecharunt. Toxic Powder. And well, Diamond, I did promise you a Donk. That's redeemed ourselves for the first game. That is a Donk against Gardevoir Jelly. We will take that. Excellent. Alright, let's go to a game 3. Well, I did promise him a Donk, and well, we got given a Donk, thanks to the Frillish. It's always nice to donk a Guardy Jelly deck. I hate the Jelly. Don't get me wrong, like, I get the concept of the Jellyfish, but for God's sake, why is there not a card that can just hard counter it so much easier? Like, I don't know. Well, in fact, no, what would easily counter it? I mean, obviously, other than Dark-type Pokemon, you know. But, yeah, I don't like facing Jellyfish builds. They are very annoying. It looks like our opponent is going first, so no Donk for us. Unless they brick. It could still happen. And that is a Mully. Well, luckily, this doesn't give away our strategy very much. Well, it'd be rude not to start the Pecharunt, wouldn't it? Let's see what happens. It's Goldengo. Okay, this should be fine for us, to be honest. We only need 2 Ethan's Adventure and a discard to one-shot him. Unless they play Rigid... Well, no, would Rigid Band matter? No, they'd have to play Hero's Cape. And even then, we just put 3 in the discard, and that's the end of that. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, hold on, folks. This could be a good one. So, Nest Ball for the Bonnet. Jungle. Cyndaquil. Carmine. There's Secret Box. That pretty much gets us it, if memory serves. So, yeah, we do that, yeah. That's Donk. That is another Donk, ladies and gentlemen. That is brilliant. So we already need the ABEC off of this. And then Toxic Powder. And goodbye, Goldengo. Well, Gimmighoul in this case. That's another Donk. Let's go to a game 4. We'll take that. Absolutely take that. I was hoping for some Donks in this video, to be fair, but hey, we'll take a second Donk. Let's go to a game 4. Well, after that match, I just got progressed to Giratina rank. I've been meaning to climb the ladder a little bit, but yeah, just like I said, because I've been poorly and obviously I've not had much energy. Like, I've even had to go back. Like, I've even been playing Grand Theft Auto 5 with my dad because, you know, it's a nice way of like just chilling out and, you know, like just driving around in an armored truck and things like that. You know, like just relaxing and just enjoying, you know, like time with other people and stuff like that. You know, it's one of those things. Ooh, could this be a third Donk in a row? Because yeah, this could be interesting. This could be a third Donk in a row. They put down 2 Pokemon, so no Donk, but we can take out the Cleffa with very little effort. And well, there's the jungle and Carmine. Ah, well, that's not great, is it? Well, we might as well grab back that Fire Energy. I'll attach it to the Petch and pass. That's quite disappointing, but we do get to use Ethan's Adventure this turn. Because we could Carmine, but I think it's better to Ethan's Adventure because then we set up our board. Okay, that actually helps us. We can get down our Bonnet that way. Might be better to go for Carmine then if they've given us an Artisan. But no, so far this list has been running pretty well. This, however, is going to be a problem. As I said, this is the one thing about this list that I don't like, is the fact that it only plays one way to get out of Yveltal, and the Yveltal, shall we say, get out of is a 2-prizer, which I don't particularly like. Now, I know someone's going to say, but Joe, you've literally just described what, you know. I think it's correct to grab Cyndaquil here, you know. I could grab Bonnet, but they could trap the Bonnet. I think it's correct to grab Cyndaquil and get set up with that. I will bench second Pecharunt, however. And then we'll Carmine. Oh, that was a horrible Carmine. I mean, it's not the end of the world, because we can Night Stretcher. Grab back that Quilava. Nest Ball. Can grab ourselves... Not you. We want another you. Because Cyndaquil's going to be pretty useful in this matchup. I'll tell you that right now. We can Night Stretcher back that energy as well, I guess. Might as well make use of the 4 Night Stretcher, eh? We'll attach to you and pass. I'm not particularly worried, it's just that Yveltal could be an issue. But we can deal with that. There's Ensdar Menitan, that is another problem for this deck. Now, if they can get 2 energy on those Zoroarks, they can copy Flame Body and just devastate our board, which could be a problem. I was going to say, discarding a random card that you haven't shown me, it's a boss, that's fine. Comments below, what's your favourite boss art? Like, it can be, obviously, like, Lysander, because obviously that's technically a boss card. I know this one has Lysander on it, but there used to be a card in the format called Lysander. But no, let me know, what's your favourite boss art? Because this isn't mine. Mine's Getsis. I always play Getsis in all my decks. But yeah, this so far isn't looking particularly great. Secret Box, that's fine. I just noticed that their name is a play on words of cavalry, like horseback riders and stuff like that. To get rid of another boss. Ooh, that's not good. They are playing the Cyrus boss though. I do like that art though. That's a really cool art. Like, if it wasn't for Getsis, I'd be playing nothing but Cyrus. Ends PP up, Hilda. So they can get the attack off this turn. Slightly concerning, but we can eventually one-shot a Zoroark. So we do have that advantage. There's the Hilda, so they can get themselves a reversal. Huh? I mean, You do you, I guess. That's not what I thought you would have grabbed. You haven't attached for turn. Okay, Pal Pad for both boss, fair enough. But no, you haven't attached for turn. That seems very strange as to why he's done that. Because he could have just grabbed a basic Dark Energy and started attacking into this Pecharunt and put some early pressure on, you know, get rid of my resources and stuff like that. There's the Reshi. Maybe he was waiting to use the Reshi and he's not attached for turn because of that. Here's the air balloon. That's fine. Reversal. I've not taken a prize yet, mate. Okay, I mean, fair enough. You get the Grasping Jaw for 5, I guess. No, that just seems a little bit strange. I don't know if it's just me that thinks that, but I don't think it's the best line for my opponent. So we'll do that. We can then Artisan for a Bonnet. We might as well take advantage of the Bonnet. And Carmine. That's pretty good. Now the question is, do I want to take this prize here? First of all, though, let's Bonded Buy. We've got one... We've got none in the prize cards, which is good, because we can Secret Box these away now. But I kind of do want to keep one in hand anyway. I could take this prize card, but then they just come back in with 2. But then we can boss for turn, is what I'm thinking. Because we could just grab a Night Stretcher off of this Secret Box, get back this Fire Energy. But then again, we have a Fire Energy here, so I think it's actually correct to take the prize... In fact, no. If we don't take the prize card here, he can't do anything with this. He then takes one prize with this, but then again, he could just copy Flame Body Cannon anyway. So I think it's correct to actually just take the prize here. Because he could just copy Flame Body Cannon with his Zoroark anyway. So either way, we're still losing 2 prize cards. I think it's correct, for the sake of the game right now, to do this. Because obviously he could just go Night Joker, knock out both Pecharunts, and he still takes 2 prizes. So that's my thought process. And plus, he's playing a 2-prizer as his main attacker. We're playing a 1-prizer. If need be, we can Gust the Darmanitan later. It's not a major deal, but you can take out both Pecharunts right now. So let's see what happens from there. Back in a moment. Sorry about that, we haven't missed much as it seems. I just run and quickly answer the door there. He's put a Mochi on this one. He's used his trades. So yeah, he is going to attack with Flame Body, I think, this turn. I don't see a reason why he wouldn't, but obviously he can use a Darmanitan here. But we could always Gust this. Oh, and Iono, no! That's so bad for us. That is so bad for us. I mean, the Carmine helps, but no, that's pretty bad for us. But I know he was going to play an Iono and a Secret Box. So there's the Night Joker. Is he copying Flame Body Cannon is the question. Because he could, and take 2 prizes here. And he is. Fair enough, my friend. Fair enough. If that's the case, I may just Gust this. Because now he has no energy in play, I'm probably just going to Gust the Darmanitan for this turn. There's a Patch, so let's do a quick shuffle with Artisan. We'll grab the Cyndaquil. I'm going to Gust this Darmanitan, I think it's correct too. So, Bonded Buy. In fact, no, we can't. We can't Gust this. I've got a better idea, though. If we do this... We do this... I don't want to bench that, I don't think. I'll bounce his Stadium anyway, because that can always help. I think it's actually correct Carmine here, I'll be brutally honest. Let's see. We do get though. So we can Ultra Ball these 2 away. Grab a Typhlosion. So now, we are doing exactly 280. So Pal Pad, we'll put that in the boss. And one of the Carmines, because we will need draw. Attached to you, Body Blast. Taking out the Zoroark. Then taking 2 prize cards. Candy could be useful, but the Squawk is not. Now, he doesn't seem to run a copy of N's Castle, which is good for us. Interesting that he promoted this, though. Unless he does play the Castle. Because even if he comes up with Darmanitan, I'm happy to take the single prize here. It's not a major deal. But let's see what happens. My opponent's been playing this pretty well, though. I mean, I think they really need to lean into this Yveltal, though. Because like I said, I don't really have an answer for this. Cyrano, okay. They could have Pecharunt EX, and they do. But they've just attached for turn. So do they play Energy Switch, is my question. They could also pivot into the Yveltal and give me a prize, a singular prize instead of two. That is most definitely an option. I'm glad they actually do kind of run this. This card is underrated in Zoroark, I think. It's a very good card. There's another trade. So yeah, like I said, I put back the boss and the Carmine, because obviously Carmine can still draw us cards. It's not a dead card. Like, Ethan's Adventure would be to obviously grab other stuff, but Carmine gets us consistent draw, which is why I put it back in. But no, I'm not sure what my opponent was planning here. I think they wanted to draw into an energy switch to obviously switch it onto the Yveltal. Counter Catcher, yeah, that's what I was fearing. Do you have the E-switch? Judging by that, I think he does. New active Pokemon. No, he's going for the Darmanitan attack. Okay, this is bad. We need to find our Petch. Well, we need to find a way to get back our Petch, is what I mean. Well, I say get back the Petch, we'd actually need the baby Petch, plus we would need the Pecharunt EX. So we'd need 2 Night Stretchers, and we're down all 4. So I think, at this point, folks, we kind of lose from here. We can poison them, which is something we can do. We can Toxic Powder. We do still get a couple of damage counters on. But because they have the Pecharunt EX, they can just freely switch into their stuff. This could get ugly, is what I'm trying to say. You can now see why, like, relying on a 2-prizer as your pivot, like this, and plus we need one of these, is just so situational. Obviously, the poison here doesn't hugely matter, but what we need to do is we need to take out this Zoroark next. If they gust one of our Typhlosions, Eerie, okay. I don't mind losing the Candy. That is your support for turn, though. Trade. They didn't even look at the second card. There's Mega Absol, that's fine. I wish they did put that down, but, well. Our opponent's not that daft. Like I said, my opponent's been playing pretty smoothly here. I'm pretty impressed with his, you know, pace of play is decent enough. Obviously, he's been doing a lot of actions, so that's why he's a little bit slower than me. We haven't had to do many actions. Or many actions, I should say. So unless he plays something like, what's it called? I'm just trying to think, what's he going to try and do here? Because he could stall us out a little bit. He can copy Flame Body, but ooh, I don't agree with that. I don't think you should Flame Body. Because I'm just going to bring this one up, and then you can't one-hit KO this, you know? I don't think that was correct to Flame Body there, personally. Well, we'll just Body Blast and hope for the best. Take 2 prize cards. There's a Fire and a Cyndaquil. That's fine. I don't think my opponent can win from here, realistically. My only board state is obviously the Ethan's Typhlosion and the Ethan's Typhlosion. Even if he Flame Body Cannons, he cannot win. There's Fez. Fez won't get him anything, though. And he can't bring up a single prizer because I will just one-shot it. He needs to put something like a Hero Escape on the Zoroark, but even then, he played Secret Box. So I don't think my opponent wins from here, I'll be brutally honest. Because our board state is literally just this, we didn't put down this Cyndaquil. Obviously, we got this off the prizes, but that's not the point. We didn't put anything down like a Cyndaquil, so he cannot win. I think my opponent loses from here, and there's nothing he can do about it. If he wants to go down in style, he can ends PP up to this, copy Flame Body Cannon, knock this out, damage this, and then we win. There's nothing he can do. There goes Psyduck. Ends PP up, so he does get it. He can attack. He can attack, but then we just win with Body Blast. There's nothing he can do. But no, I'm impressed with my opponent's play. Like he's done really well this whole game. Ethan's Typhlosion is a tough matchup. So I'm pretty impressed with him for that. But yeah, this is not looking good for my opponent. Like I said, if he wants to go down this style, he can copy Flame Body Cannon, but well, there's not much he can do. He could take out one Typhlosion, but then I'll just come up with the other and attack the game. So there's not much I can really say here. I could have obviously thinned out the A-back, but it doesn't hugely matter. And there we go. There's a concession. GG's to my opponent. That was really fun. And he played that actually perfect, I think. He played that really well. Alright, so before we go to the outro and obviously what I thought of the deck, let's go to my upgraded version and see what I've done to it. And welcome back. As I said, I've obviously gone off and tinkered my own version of this deck that Diamond Domain did give me, and this is the version that I've come up with. This is just more of a consistent sort of approach. Obviously not much on the surface has actually changed. Obviously we've upgraded to 6 Fire Energy. There's now no TM Evo, there's a second Candy, there's now a Buddy Poffin in the list, there's now a Counter Catcher in the list, there's now a Super Rod in the list, there's now a Professor Turo scenario, there's now an Iron Bundle, because, you know, we could get potentially shut down by a Jellicent. There's now a Latias in play, which we can obviously use. You know, I've tried to go for more of like a conventional sort of mixing in the poison package approach. But the reason for adding the Iron Bundle is because obviously Binding Mochi can potentially be a cheeky way of boosting our damage. So with just 3 Evens Adventures in play, plus a Mochi, plus Perilous, means we can actually take out a Jellicent. We don't need all 4 Evens Adventure in the discard pile to actually do that. Obviously, it also helps with just consistency as well, because if we prize our Pecharunt, we can't really get this guy into the active if we start something like the Brute Bonnet. Having the Latias, which is just a Nest Ball away, is really useful. But what if our opponent puts down a Pokemon that we don't want to donk? What if they put down, for example, in the active, a Duskull, and they have a Charmander on their bench? Why don't we Iron Bundle them, and then they promote the Pokemon that we want to deal with? So that was sort of my approach with this list, and so far with the testing, this list has felt a lot smoother and has felt a bit more consistent. The only way I think this list could be upgraded a little bit further is if we was playing Pokegears in here, but that would be a really tight squeeze. And to be brutally honest, the only way you're going to fit Pokegears in this list is if you eat into Ethan's line. And I don't think, given that this deck wants to focus around the hard-hitting power of Ethan's Typhlosion, and obviously if you are playing Ethan's Adventure for turn, you want to capitalize on that. This is my personal preference of why I think this is probably why you should keep it as a 4-4-3. You could try 3-3-2, but I don't think that's correct. Obviously, I put in a Super Rod because that's more general purpose recovery. Yes, we're losing 2 of our Night Stretchers, but Night Stretcher only gets you back 1 thing. Super Rod can get you back 3 into the deck. So if you are burning through your Carmines, you're burning through your Ethan's Adventures and stuff like that, this is more usable, and obviously having a Counter Catcher anyway in the list that we played would have been much more usable, but obviously we still get the 2 boss. Boss is still such a good card, and having a Counter Catcher as a cheeky answer with a Secret Box, because we could go Secret Box, Counter Catcher, Carmine, or Turo if we've got Brute Bonnet in the active and we can't move it, stuff like that, and that's why I put the Turo in. As we saw with the endgame there, with the Zoroark deck, they did gust our Brute Bonnet, and there was no way for us to move it. Because both our Petarunts were in the discard pile, the Pecharunt EX was in the discard pile, the Fez we didn't really want to bench, because that gives them a 2-prizer. Having a Turo in the deck just makes it a lot more better if you do want to do that. Now, another card you could put in here, which I haven't found the space for, is the Pal Pad. Pal Pad is a pretty useful card in this list, as we saw, because obviously we could recycle Carmine, Boss, things like that. Don't know where you make the space for that. You could maybe cut the Poffin if you're not confident with the Poffin, because obviously the Poffin is only here for the Ethan Cyndaquil. It's the only card that can be searched out by a Poffin. But being able to set up 2 Ethan Cyndaquils is most of the time just really good, and it's really consistent in doing so. Anyway, that's it for this deck. Let's go to the outro and let's discuss the deck that we played. So, what did I think to the deck that we played today? I do think it is very good, and obviously it does give a unique way of playing Ethan's Typhlosion. And as we saw, we even got a couple of Donks in, which is always nice. But as I said, I think it fell short in a couple of areas. So I'm hoping that Diamond Domain does watch the video and obviously does watch the upgraded version and the stuff like that. Obviously, we're not going to play any games with the upgraded version because this video is already far too long for my liking. But honestly, this has been a really fun experience. I've been really enjoying this new approach to Ethan's Typhlosion. I don't think it's the way I would play Ethan's Typhlosion, but honestly, this has been a barrel of laughs this whole time, and I've really enjoyed myself playing this deck. So thank you to Diamond Domain for submitting this deck to me. Anyway, I'm going to leave you all to it for today. I really hope you enjoyed seeing this deck, and obviously the new approach to obviously deck submissions. If you do want to submit a deck to me to play, just anything other than freaking Guardian Control, I will happily take a look at it. Anyway, I'll see you all next time.